Hello dearies! Welcome to the Craft Kitchen. And we have a load of new subscribers. I'm so happy for this. Thank you, thank you. Really, I'm very excited. So for those who don't know yet, my name is Tina, I'm from Germany, and this channel is all about paper crafts, mostly about junk journaling, because honestly, I am a paper addict and a junk journal junkie. Also, I really love thrifting, but yeah, most of the time I'm too excited and forget to make a video for you guys. So sorry. I will try and make a video next time I go thrifting. So today is the 26th of April, which is letter W for hashtag ABC April 2025, hosted by Toni at Crafty by Toni and Margaret at 7 Plaza. And yeah, letter W, dearies. It's really sad we're almost done yet, because I enjoyed using a letter for a prompt for junk journaling, or junk journal making in my case, because this was really challenging. But yeah, I'm pretty much sure I will find other things to challenge myself with. So, letter W, and on the prompt list it says washi, watercolor, writing spot, and I added writing board. Since I'm only starting to use watercolors properly, I'm not going to do this. Writing spot, yeah, no. Well, all my journals are sort of a huge writing spot. And yeah, I sometimes add more writing spots here and there when I don't know, glue on a pocket. I add a writing spot to sort of equalize the writing space. Writing board, I'm not going to show you yet. This I will do for my next project, but yeah, I don't know the measurements yet, so I'm not going to make a writing board. So this leaves us with washi, and this is what we're going to make today. But I'm not going to be using just paper, so like copy paper or thicker paper, because to me washi is translucent. So semi-transparent. We all know the original washi tapes, and these are translucent. So I do have here two examples. So the first is this one, and let me take a bit off. When I, this is way too small. Don't care. It will do. When I glue a strip of washi tape on here, you can still see the writing through. So this is original washi tape. Then you also have these sort of shiny, glossy, whatever. These are also see-through. Whoop. Like this. But you also get tapes. They call washi tapes, but they are completely opaque. So, and I want to recreate this sort of a look, because yeah, some of you might remember I would like to have this red and blue airmail stripe thingy washi tape, which Toni just restocked. But yeah, ordering 2 rolls of washi tape at the shop, the UK shop that ships to Germany, to Europe, for 10 euros shipping cost plus custom fees, no. So I have to find a way to sort of make it myself. I already used packaging tape and a printed airmail layout, placed my packaging tape on top and just ripped it off. So yeah, this sort of worked. But then again, my washi tape is more of PET tape and I have to sand it, and then it feels again like paper. Oh, and also I would have to put glue underneath. I don't know if it's worth the effort. Well, there is another solution I already know of that works, but I'm gonna be trying later in the video a second version for translucent washi tape. So for the first version, which is really, really simple, but yeah, still feels like paper, we will need double-sided tissue tape and tissue paper. And yeah, all sorts of stamping inks. I took out some. I also have those for my airmail strippy things. I still don't know what they are called. And of course, stamps. So I already pulled out some stamps. And also stamping blocks might come in handy, different sizes. I like to use this one because it is small. I can stamp on about 3 or 4 of my to-be washi strips in one go. Or this one, this is actually for card making. You can stamp on large areas, but it's not that comfortable to hold because it's really big. Or yeah, just use a handheld size and stamp over and over. Oh, this is the living room. Actually, this stamping block is the living room of my splatters family. This lives on here because this is my favorite splatter stamp I got from my son last year. So let's start this, and this is quite easy, really. So just take a piece of your tissue paper. I'm just using a small bit here just to demonstrate. I don't have that much space here. And let me cut off a piece of this. There you go. So this tissue paper has a smooth and a slightly rough side. This is just tissue paper from shoe packaging. I guess they always come like this. So one side rough and one side, yeah, a bit more shiny. So I'm gonna be using the slightly shiny side to demonstrate this. And this is actually just sewing pattern paper, as you can see here from the lines. I'm going to be using this, but you have to know that this paper, although it's thin and flat and all this, is actually very rough. I don't know if you can see. If you hold this against the light, you actually can see irregularities in here. So this paper will soak up the stamping ink for sure, and it will look a bit bleeded, I'd say. And also this has a more smooth side. This is where the lines are printed on, and the other side is the tiniest bit more rough. So I'd prefer the really smooth side for stamping on. So yeah, we have to be a bit careful. I'm turning both face down on my glass mat. Let's see, I guess this is easiest. And then I take my tissue tape. This is 12 millimeters wide. Most of the time you get washi tapes in 15 millimeters width or 10 millimeters. Whereas this tissue tape, you only, most of the time, or for a reasonable price, you get in 9 millimeters or 12 millimeters. And I have to say, I really, really like this 12 millimeters, but this, because this is, yeah, sometimes a bit too small, and most of the time the 15 millimeters is too wide for my liking. So yeah, I really like the 12 millimeter solution. You also could use, I don't know, 9 millimeters or even 6, but I guess when you want to put on 6 millimeter tissue tape here on your paper, it will be really wonky. It's not that easy to glue this on straight on this, yeah, flimsy paper. So yeah, right, glue this on. So I'm just putting down some of the tissue tape strips on my tissue paper, and I'm placing my strips really close next to each other. I guess it's easier this way. So not overlapping, because this will complicate things later on. Let's see. 3, come off. I guess 3 might be enough for, let's use 3. And the same I'm gonna be doing for this one. Remember, this is the printed side, this is the tiniest bit smoother. So I'm turning this face down, and I place my tissue tape on the back side. Now all my strips are on here, so the back side of this is covered in full, because I managed to cut this off exactly the same size as my acrylic block. So yeah, I'm going to make use of it. And this one I only used 3, because yeah, I really just like to use this small block, so this will do. I could add 2 or 3 more. This is a bit too small for another 3, so not going to do this. I can use this for collaging, because when I glue on 3 more strips here, I will have to cut 1, and this, no, I'm not going to do. So I'm going to turn both over and then just stamp on them. So I will start with the shoebox tissue paper and just choose some of my stamps. I'm not going to bother you with my airmail stripe experiment because whoa, this was not fun at all. So let's see, what do we have here? I'm going to be using just stamps that fit on here completely, so like this, so I don't have to use single stamps. Let's see, what do we have here? There is a ticket. So both of these stamp sets are from Globland. I'm going to try and find them for you. Well, at least for Europe, I don't know. Well, I guess there's a Globland web shop for the US, right? If I remember correctly. So I'm going to find them. At the moment, I can't name them. So, now, let's see. Let's first try the Memento ink. Oh yeah, for the inks. So the Memento and the Distress ink are dye inks, which means they are perfect to distress because they leave a kind of like faded impression, whereas the VersaFine and VersaFine Clear are pigment inks. They are perfect for stamping. So you will get a really, really crisp impression of your stamp with these pigment inks. So let's see. I have to decide. I guess, yeah, that's what we'll do. So I will stamp on this with the dye inks, so with the more faded look. And I'm going to be trying, I didn't do this so far. I'm going to be trying if it makes a difference stamping on here with the pigment ink, so maybe my impression will not bleed that much. So let's see. I want to have a background first. Where are my background stamps? Here. And for this, first I'm going to be using antique linen. So yeah, lightest hue as the background. Where is my family splatter? There you are. I'm just putting some splatters on here. Ooh, I really like this color. Yes, yes, yes. I'm gonna be using the same splatter stamp all over, although I could use another one. Oh, I actually do have two sets of them. They came in a pack of 2. But I'm rarely using the other one. So let's see. A bit of ghost stamping also. So my stamp will be clean. So there we have the first layer of the background. Where is my lid? There. And then I'm going in with, let's see, Toffee Crunch or Espresso. Well, this Toffee Crunch is quite yellow orangey, so I'm going to be using Espresso Truffle, but I'm going to be using one of my texture stamps for this. So, let's see, inking, then pressing this on here slightly, just placing it sort of, and then I'm going to print sort of a stamp, a ghost print on here. I really do want this in the background, so this is really faded, and that's what I want for this. Let's do this again. Now stamping the other paper, which is the sewing pattern paper, very rough and yeah, more thin than this tissue paper, is pretty much the same. I just wanted to show you the difference when stamping on this paper. I'm gonna be using pigment inks for this, which in my case is Versafine, Versafine Clair and Versafine, and 2 stamp sets, of which I already forgot the name, although I looked it up about 1 hour ago, of which I know they are making really crisp stamping imprints. But again, this paper is kind of like soaking up the ink, and therefore the ink is bleeding the tiniest bit. I'm starting with this ledger stamp, I guess. Where is my stamping block? There you are. It's a bit too small for this, but it'll do. Like so. And first I'm going in with the lightest color. Well, it's actually quite dark. It's Versafine Vintage Sepia. And yeah, with all the pigment inks, especially Versafine, I found out you have to be a bit careful because they are all very juicy. So therefore I'm going to kind of like fade my stamping imprint. Let's see, I'd say about there. And for this I like to use my stamp tool, pressing tool. I don't even know the name in German for this, so I don't wiggle the acrylic block. So let's see. Now this is the imprint with Versafine stamping ink, which by itself makes a beautiful imprint, but I guess you can see this here. The ink bleeded a bit. Let me show you this on a piece of coffee dyed paper. So again, also stamping off a bit. So here I do have a really crisp imprint, although I stamped off a bit of the ink to have this aged vintage look. But this part here, there where my finger is exactly the same as this, and this one is bleeding and here it's not. So it's the paper. Depends on the effect you want to achieve with this, but yeah, for a more crisp image I would use my really best stamps to stamp on here. So let's see, I'm just randomly stamping sort of ledger on here, alternating colors after this one. Oh, don't do this. Let's see, I'll put you here, I guess. There. And when I finished stamping my sort of pictures on here, I'm going in again with my texture stamps and just fill the gaps where needed. Okay, I changed my mind. Of course I did. I filled the whole sheet with correspondence stamps, and now I'm going to try and stamp some splatters on with Distress Ink Antique Linen, which is dye ink. So first, the stamped impression isn't that crisp in the first place, And second, I have no idea if you will see the antique linen on this paper. So let's give it a try. Well, yeah, you can see it. So, two different homemade washi tapes with, of course, different stamping, but also different texture. And yeah, we're going to treat them both the same, which is just tear them. You tear your tissue tape off, your strip of tissue tape, and you have a perfect strip of washi tape. Well, of course, what you also could do is cut them. With this you have to be quite careful. But washi tape, I'm going to show you in a minute. So let's cut this. I'm going to be using this side, and I need my knife. You don't want to press too hard when cutting this, because you don't want to rip your paper. One. And now I will have to find the gap. Come on. Again, perfect washi tape. I'm just tearing this off because this is what most of us do. Tear the washi tape from the roll. There. 2 strips of washi tape. So I'm going to be using this one again. Oh no, you know what? I'm going to be using a piece of paper with a bit more printing. Yes, here's a lot of writing on the tag. So let's see. Yeah, peeling this off is a bit complicated. Well, I'm lucky. But sometimes you're really struggling with this. So let's see. And this is much more sticky, of course, than real washi tape. So, where is it? There. This is the tissue paper, and as you can see-through. It's still just translucent, but see-through. And also this one. Let's take one where there's more going on. Tearing this strip off. Trying to find the beginning for the paper underneath. Let's see. I guess when you cut this, the strips, it's more easy to find the beginning. But I don't like the look of cut washi tape. So this way around. In this case we do have a direction. Just placing this here over this written section. And also through this paper you can see the tiniest bit there in the background of the original writing. I really like this. But yeah, you saw my struggle getting the backing paper off from this. So I thought maybe I can use something else to make my washies. Well, I'm going to continue making my washies with this method because even the texture of this is quite nice. And yeah, of course, the ripped edges, I mean, when you try and rip the edges of washi tape, you will really have a hard time. Maybe some of you can do this. I can't, because I always end up tearing this like diagonal. So, but I thought, why not use my trusted medical tape for this? You know, the one I usually ink up with alcohol ink and make sort of H tape. So why not stamp on this? So let's give it a try. I'm going to place 2 strips on here. I'm lucky. My husband is bringing home these backing papers from the labeling machine at work sometimes. So I do have quite a lot of backing paper. And I need sort of a weight here. Like this? Yes. Oh, yeah, this is also a thrift find when I was in the Netherlands last time. I really like this hole punch. This is just an office hole punch, but I guess it's from the 40s or 50s. I really, really like this. The style is really vintagey. Well, it makes a sound like it is from the 40s. I really love it. So let's cut a piece off. Where? Usually I just would go over with alcohol ink here, let this dry for, I don't know, 1 day. 18 to 24 hours. And then I have my H tape. But yeah, like I told you, why not stamp on this? I also prepared this strip. This is a already used piece of this of the other roll. Here I brushed on distress oxide with these brushes, and it is iced spruce. Well, this takes quite a long time to dry, and I also needed a second layer to get this more present, to get the color more present. And because I was rather impatient, I just used a kitchen towel, paper towel, and rubbed on here. So, oh, there's a cat hair, or is it a dog hair? I can't tell. You will have sort of a look as if you have sprayed a really just misted this with water and taken it off. This is because of the surface, and I really like it. And yes, it's finally dry. So I want to make my own airmail striped washi tape. I still don't know what this is called. So yeah, I only have these 2 big ink pads. For this job, these small ones, or either or the smalls from the archival ink series, would be perfect. But yeah, I only have this dark red. It says rhubarb stalk, so it's more of a Bordeaux, I'd say. But I want to have this bright red. So in my case, this is quite a lot of work. Let's see. I will have to ink all my strip here. No, Toni stamps are sold out. So, and then I have to clean off every second silicone thingy on my stamp. Now, oh yeah, let's see. I guess, yeah. These are fitting too. Yes. So, this is really wonky, I'd say, but I don't care for the moment. Well, I didn't clean off enough, but doesn't matter. so I'm continuing to stamp my blue ink on. Oh, I forgot, this also is permanent ink. Yeah, this is the sort of ink you use for an office. And let's see, first two off. You use for an office, and it's also waterproof, and yeah, pigment ink. So the stamping is more crisp, and I'm using those two because I'm not only using them now here for this, but when I make like mail ephemera, I want to have the sort of office colors. So now I'm lining up. I've cleaned the first two of these rhombus. I've cleaned them, and now I'm lining them up with these two, the last two here, and I'm lining my stamp up, of course, with the edge of my tape. So I'm going to be doing this first. Wasn't that good for all this strip, and also for this with the Distress Oxide background. And then I'm going to try to fit in the red. Well, I don't know, maybe I'm going to be using the Memento ink, but yeah, on the other hand, Memento ink is dye ink, so this will look very differently. I don't know, guys, I really don't know. Yeah, this one I messed up while talking, but I don't care. Yeah, actually more reason for me to try the dye ink for this. Hopefully I will get an imprint that is like the ones I do have here. Well, this is actually document proof or waterproof ink, these two, but they don't make the best imprints, so yeah, they're rather cheap, but for my needs I don't care. So using this one is really much more easy. So we're just going to, let's see, I will need a guide, so I'm going to start at the third of these thingies. Color this every second one, and let's see how this works with the dye ink. Again, fudged it up almost. So I would have had to leave only the first one. Let's see. Well, the imprint is the same, but the red is really dark. I don't know if I like this. Well, I'm going to finish my stamping with this dark red here, but I'm going to be using the red for the other strip here. Well, okay, I'd say my problem actually with this stamping method is that my blue ink really takes a long time to dry, and I can't get this off here, not even with alcohol, because like I told you, it's document proof. So yeah, maybe I would have to wait for this to dry before stamping the red lines in. But you know what? I don't mind the darkish red. That's quite alright for me. So I'm just going to continue with the same ink. I'm not going to switch inks, but I'm going to be testing both of them, the Memento ink and this one here, on the strips, or one strip with the iced spruce background. Oh yeah, we're getting there. See? Here on this 3 end parts, the blue ink on my stamp already has dried. So maybe doing this the other way around, so first red and then blue, is a pretty good idea. But I like it. I like it. Let's see how this looks when it's finished. So yeah, again, first trying the dye ink on the first line, and on the second line I'm going to be using the office ink. Now I'd say I like how this turned out. But I learned 2 things. First, I should wear gloves. At least when using these inks. And there I actually directly address the next problem. Maybe using the office inks, the document and waterproof inks for this is not the best idea, because they not only take forever to dry on the tape, but also on the silicone stamp. So yeah, I have a lot of blue in my red here, but actually I can't see much of a difference between the office ink and the dye ink, depending the imprint. Well, this pinkish one here is the office ink, and this darkish red is the memento ink. So the imprints are quite the same. Well, this color is a bit darker, but I don't mind. Well, I guess I'm gonna be getting a blue mini ink pad because this makes it way easier. And also, I'm very surprised this worked here on my Distress Oxide backgrounds, because I mean, you've seen me washing this the ink off the stamp every time, and I actually wondered if this would do anything to the Distress Oxide, but no, nothing happened. That's quite nice. And now I can't use baby wipes because my fingers don't like glycerin. I guess it was glycerin in the soap when we were at the restaurant. So yeah, everything's dry and everything's sort of burst open around my nails. So yeah, I'm creaming. So let's see. Washi tapes. Going to cut my washi tapes to strips. I'm so excited. I have no idea. Well, first I will have to cut this down the tiniest bit. I have no idea how this will look on paper. I'm really curious. You want to go in there, please? So let's see. That's the only thing I don't like about these blade cutters, these guillotines. You can't see in an instant where you're cutting. Washi tape. So let's see. The width of this is 11 millimeters. Well, that's quite all right. I'm going to cut off only the tiniest bit of this piece as well, so that it's sort of straight. And this now is also 11. Wow. So again, I'm quite excited. Well, this is too long. This is the blue. No, I have to sort it out. So this is the bluish and this is the pure. Let's see. Going to cut this here. No waste. Although it's not perfect, of course I'm going to use it. So this is the one I just stamped on without coloring it first. Let's have this straight. Let's see. Let's see. Ooh, I like it. I already like it. Yes. Oh, that's great. Look! Perfectly translucent. Is it still smearing? Yeah, it takes a while to dry. So let's take the bluish gray background washi. Let's place it directly beneath or next to it or whatever. Oh god, it looks great, both of them. So this is the white without background color, and this is the ice spruced distress oxided. I love it. So proof, you can just stamp on where is it, this medical tape, this really smooth and thin medical tape, and you will have your own washi, your own designed washi, translucent, not just a strip, paper strip. That's just great. I forgot to tell you, there are two different sorts of this medical tape. So the one I've been using is really smooth and thin, and then there is medical tape that looks like, yeah, actually a bit of fabric, almost like the sewing pattern paper, so the texture, but it is a bit thicker, and of course it's sticky. I don't know, I have a good guess about this, so stamping on this will definitely cause the ink to bleed. So try and get this very smooth and thin medical tape. I'm going to try and find it for UK and US, I guess Canada too. Oh, Australia. Guys, you're killing me. So I'm definitely going to find it for Europe. So, well, won't be that difficult because I just have to take a look at my Amazon timeline, and hopefully from there you can get and find it on your Amazon because this would be really, really much. Yeah, love it. Really, really love it. Where are the others? Oh my gosh, this is just great. So yeah, this is the quite simple method. It could be as easy with this tape, of course. Yeah, but hello, it's me. Why not make it complicated for myself? Well, dearies, this was the letter W for the hashtag ABC April 2025 challenge. I hope you had fun watching this, like I had fun making it. Yeah, just give it a try. It's just great. And of course, I hope to see you next time. And as always, stay creative and be excellent to each other. Bye!